Hey, this thing logger. Welcome to the Wolf Project. This is now my fourth Bigfoot encounter submission, and I have 13 more bizarre whoops and howls and vocalizations lined up, waiting to be analyzed. And you know what? I can't tell you the last time I saw some new, interesting, quote unquote, Bigfoot footage. So these vocalizations, this is the way. By verifying them and studying them and mapping the locations of these verified encounters, this is how we're going to learn something about this species more than we have ever known before. So that is what the Wolf Project is all about. Now have a listen to this. Amazing, right? That is a gray wolf. Now, these vocalizations over here on the left, they were recorded in Window Rock, Arizona, about 1,000 feet from the Navajo Nation zoo that happens to have a couple of gray wolves there. But this vocalization, have a listen to it. Whatever it is, it ain't no gray wolf. Here we go. But now here's the kind of creepy thing. Gray wolves tend to like to end their howls with this little kind of tremolo, tricky ending here. Listen. Ooh, whatever this thing is, mimic that. So there is something that comes up and sits by that zoo up on big rocks up on top overlooking the zoo that mimics those gray wolves. So in this video, I'm going to show you how whatever these vocalizations are over on the left, they could not possibly be a gray wolf or any kind of wolf. They could not be coyotes. They could not be dogs, could not be anything a human could do or any other known species. So let's go check it out. Okay, so first, we are looking at some pictures of Window Rock, Arizona, and there is the amazing, beautiful Window Rock right there. It's an incredible sight. And here is the Navajo Nation Zoo in Window Rock, and we see it's right at the base of this tall mesa. And according to the local legend, forest giants, or Sasquatch as they call them, will come to that bluff at night that overlooks the zoo and will sit up there and watch the animals and howl at them and watch the traffic going by. Now, the man who submitted this encounter to me, his name is Mr. Lima. He is a documentarian. He was in Window Rock, Arizona, filming another Bigfoot documentary. We are looking at one of his documentaries right here. It's called Bigfoot Evidence, Oregon. You can watch the entire documentary on Stash, Bigfoot UFOs, and the Unexplained here on YouTube. Come check it out. Now, some of you might be wondering, why would there be forest giant activity in Window Rock, Arizona? You know, with the mesas and all, it kind of looks like the desert out there, and is, but look what it borders. You've just got endless mile after mile after mile of mountains and wilderness areas. And if I just keep going, it all funnels down to, I can find it. There it is in red, Window Rock, Arizona, sitting at the foothills, bordering all of this. And if I zoom in a little further, too far, over here on the left is the hotel where Mr. Lima and a friend were staying at the night they recorded the bizarre vocalizations, which they believed were coming from 1,000 feet over here on this large rock formation. And here in the center is Navajo Nation Museum, and over here marked in red is the Navajo Nation Zoo. So it's certainly not unheard of that this area would get visitations from forest giants. So here is some of the raw audio that Mr. Lima and his friend recorded that night. Have a listen. There's dogs barking in the area. The men are talking. See these straight lines? That's like a hum coming from maybe a air conditioner or something. They're at the hotel or fans or whatever. So I had to do a lot of work on this to clean it up and got it to this state, which isn't a whole lot better. Have a listen. Okay, so here we go. Here are the two main things I want you to see. Wolf howls, two wolves howling. And notice that you can hear these wolves going up and down in pitch the entire time. And we can see that with our eyes. We see they'll go from 400 hertz up to 600 hertz and then down and up and down and up and down. Here is an entirely different recording of a wolf. Up and down all over the place. And now look at these. Here are some more Mexican gray wolf howls. And you can see every one of them varies wildly in pitch. Now have a look at the two window rock mystery howls over here on the left versus a gray wolf howl on the far right. Use your eyes. You can see that the two different vocalizations don't look a thing in the world alike. That the gray wolf, again, is up and down all over the place in pitch. And look at these things. Listen to this. You can hear with your ear that it didn't change in pitch hardly at all. It just hit one note, whoop, and here it goes up slightly. Then it hops up to a higher pitch, hops back down, and then ends with that gray wolf tremolo sign-off. And now let's look at the second vocalization, which is even more incredible. Hops to 3 notes, then starts walking it back down. And I think we've got another howler starting right there. And then it has the gray wolf sign off. To me, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but these look and sound like a cross between, say, a flute and some species that howls. Now, I know some of you down in the comments, you're going to be like, oh, come on, dude. I was raised by gray wolves. I can tell a gray wolf a mile away. Blah, 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 blah. See, that's not proof. That's just your opinion. We are looking at visual evidence here, just as if we were looking at fingerprints and comparing them. So unless you have some sort of visual evidence that proves that these are gray wolves, then you really have nothing. And don't forget, the two mystery howls over here were recorded from 1,000 feet away or better. So when I said this sounded like a cross between some sort of flute and an animal that howls, that would have to be one incredibly loud flute type sound to travel that distance. So maybe it's a species that can just do that, has just a big, giant vocal apparatus that can make a big, loud, booming flute type sound combined with gray wolf type vocalizations. It's just incredible. Now, here is the second and even more impossible thing I want you to see. So here are our wolf howls again. Notice that once a wolf fills its lungs with air and starts howling, it's just one long continuous flow of sound. And it's that way with coyotes, it's that way with dogs. Here's the gray wolf. Never lets up until the end, one continuous flow of sound. Now, look again at our window rock mystery vocalizations. It hopped right there, it hopped from one lower frequency up to a much higher frequency, and it's not a continuous flow of sound. And then it hops again here. And then an even better example is over here. This is just incredible. I mean, look at that. It starts off at one frequency, a lower frequency right here, hops way up in frequency, hops again, then it becomes a continuous flow as it kind of walks back down. So listen to that again. That's impossible. I mean, once us mammals, and most animals, once we fill our lungs and start howling, that's it. It's going to be a continuous flow of sound, whether it goes up or down in pitch. But not this thing. This thing sings or howls or plays its vocal cords like an instrument, as if it had two separate sets of vocal cords that just weren't connected at all. That's not my opinion that these aren't connected. You can see with your own eyes that these vocalizations can jump around up and down in pitch and it not be a continuous flow of sound. I mean, I just don't have words to express how weird this is, and never seen anything like this from a known species in over a decade. So then I forced myself to be a guinea pig and, embarrassingly enough, do a test here in the name of science to see if I could do a vocalization with just one breath where I was hitting different notes and yet those notes weren't joined. And you can see that I failed miserably. My vocalization here looks like the same as wolves and coyotes and dogs. It's just one continuous flow of sound as I'm hitting different notes. So then I forced myself a second time to try even harder to have a gap between notes so that there wasn't a continuous flow. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And you can see that I ended up with these huge gaps here. And also notice that each time that my voice started up again, it kind of had to ramp up. See it curved up and then it comes down again. Wasn't trying to do that. That just naturally happened. Now let's look again at the Window Rock Mystery Howler. There's no gap in between sounds, and there's no ramp up as it starts a new note. Those, have a listen. Again, this sounds and looks like the cross between some flute or whistle and some animal that can howl like a gray wolf. It shouldn't exist, and yet we're looking at proof of it right here. And yes, I know we humans have false vocal cords, but those make, our false vocal cords make low, rumbling, distorted sounds, and these are anything but. These are mid to higher range sounds. No human false vocal cords could even get close to touching this. Again, the only thing I can think of is we're looking at a species that has two distinct sets of real, actual functioning vocal cords. And don't forget, I've found what appears to be proof of two different sets of functioning vocal cords. This was the reason I started the Whoop Project. This vocalization here on the left was recorded by Ron Moorhead back in the 70s, way up in the Sierra Nevadas. And this second one was recorded by a Bigfoot group out of Kentucky just a few years back. Have a listen to the two. They sound simple enough. It just sounds like somebody going, whoop. But what is going on here is we have two separate sounds happening at the exact same time. Here's the lower part. And now as I extend the selection, you hear the second part come into play. two sounds happening at the exact same time from one individual. It's like somebody being able to sing a duet by themselves. And here is when Ron Moorhead himself tried to reply to this whoop. And you can see Ron made one long continuous flow of sound. And here's my attempt, does the exact same thing. So here we are looking at two different species. Both can make the whoop sounds, but they're produced or manufactured in entirely different ways. One species has one set of vocal cords that can make sounds that high, and another species has what appears to be two distinct sets of vocal cords capable of both making high-pitched sounds. So there you go, Mr. Lima. I can't say what you and your buddy recorded that night in Window Rock, there by the Navajo Zoo, but it's not any known species. Not a wolf, not a dog, not a coyote. It's and certainly not a human. So, and it's also something capable of producing a very loud sound that travels a long distance, and it's an incredibly complex sound. So complex that the only way to explain it is, again, that it has two sets of vocal cords. So there you go. And by the way, when Mr. Lima sent this to me, he's like, what did we record here? Did I just record some gray wolves? So you can't tell at the time. You can't do analysis out there in the field when you're hearing this stuff. So Mr. Lima and everybody else who has submitted to the Whoop Project, you guys did the right thing. You heard something that you believed was weird. You recorded it as well as you could, and then you submitted it. That is all you could do. And then we have to do the testing. Then we have to do the analysis and comparison, and then we can know. We can't say it's a Bigfoot, but we can say that it's no known species. All right, everybody, that is all I've got here. Thank you so much for watching. I think this was an incredible recording. And when you combine this with the lore of the locals that say, yeah, Sasquatch sits up there and sings howls down to the wolves and animals in the zoo, then, and knowing that there are Bigfoot encounters in that area, and knowing that this little strip here, this little town borders a vast wilderness area, then it all adds up to the fact that it could possibly be an encounter with something large and unknown. Call it what you want. All right, everybody, take care. And special thanks, as always, to my patrons of my Thinker-Thunker, I can't talk, my Thinker-Thunker channel, and my YouTube members of my Thinker-Thunker channel. They are the only support I have now funding research for both channels. So thank you guys so very much. All right, everybody, take care.